me, it's Kyle. With me, as always, in that box there. My finger is disappearing.
Right, what's going on?
Okay, is the Amanda, and then down there is the Julie. This is Julie Ahern. She is the person held responsible for Greenbrier Games, aka Vice President, right?
That is correct.
Someday to be president, because don't tell Jeff, but I'm calling it. But she is the Vice President of Greenbrier Games, maker of great games such as Barbarian Battleground,
Zepocalypse. You got it.
Apocalypse. What I was looking at is my Greenbrier shelf in my room, in my brain, going, okay, which ones?
You're in your mind palace trying to.
Right. Overseers.
Yeah.
Burger Up.
Yeah.
And a lot of other ones, including a new one that I haven't yet bought that I need to buy that's been around for way too long for me to have not bought it. But Folklore the Affliction, an RPG in a box.
Yep.
So she's also responsible for, you guys have seen me wear it. It's a t-shirt with a gas mask that's a rainbow. That is also Julie.
That is yep, that's our logo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So now you know why it all makes sense that I'm thinking about my Greenbrier shelf.
Right.
You know, I don't have a Czech game shelf. I have a Greenbrier shelf. So, coming up here in a minute, you're going to get to witness our playthrough of the new game from Greenbrier Games.
Is it a new game or is it an updated?
No, it's a new game.
It's brand new. Okay.
Yeah, it's a new game. I don't think you can call it the same game.
Correct.
They're just very similar theming and same.
Well, think about it. So if you've ever played, it's definitely building on the prior game. So Barbarian Battlegrounds being the first one, it's its own game, and some of the litmus that we talked about, which we talk about when we're playing, is that you can't get Tales of Barbaria and just pull away pieces and then proceed to play Barbarian Battlegrounds. So it is its own game. It adds and changes enough to make sure that it was its own specific game. And that was part of we have the conversation. It went from starting as, it's just going to be an expansion, to this is its own standalone game, which there was an evolution there. It's its own little thing.
And we're pre-recording this, just so you know, the internet. Like, you're going to see this Tuesday night, and some of this information is not going to be entirely accurate, because 10 days left to go on the Kickstarter for Tales of Barbaria, which we played on Friday. And now we're recording this a little bit later, and then it'll come out yet a little bit later, because that's how time works.
So if it comes out on Tuesday, there'll be 1 week left.
Right. There will be 7 days left. And it's a little over halfway funded.
Correct.
So there's still a lot of time left, but there's still a long way to go. So the links are going to be in the description for this video. For the Kickstarter, it'll also be on our page, pinned at the very top, as well as probably my social media for sure.
I know I've tweeted it. I'll make sure we get it tweeted out from the store's page, and we'll probably put together an Instagram post.
And to let people know, backing the Kickstarter, if you back, you get the expansion you get the expansion added on as part of your backing, just added to it, so you're not paying for it, and that is a Kickstarter exclusive. So if people are wondering why they should back instead of waiting for it to come to retail, that's probably the biggest reason, because that expansion is going to be a Kickstarter exclusive, and it just comes with the levels, so you don't have to pay extra for it. It is part of your pledge.
So I guess that's the question, is explain to people the two different things. Explain the core game of Tales of Barbaria and then the expansion. Absolutely.
So Tales of Barbaria itself is your different villages. You're rolling your dice that represent your bears, and then you're allotting them to tasks. So they are going to be doing anything from adventuring, brawling, gathering resources, and then using those resources to build. So that is what you're going to get to see when you watch the playthrough. The expansion will add to the adventuring deck. It adds a new threat that is zombears, the candy horde. So think gummy bears, but like all melty and gross. Because, you know, obviously we're going to go back to zombies. It's who we are. Really cute ones, though, like the cutest little zombears ever. And they're coming from the island off the coast of Barbaria. So they are an outside threat coming to take over the land. So you have to kind of balance your, you know, be the top most notorious bears in all of Barbaria with let's not get eaten by the zombears. So there's that. And also it adds heroes. And the heroes will be in the form of a card that gives you special abilities and a specialty die that will be unique to your village. So it won't just be a regular 6-pick die. It will be 6-sided, but it will have symbols and be unique to that village. So currently, we have been using those as social stretch goals. And since we've been achieving so many social stretch goals, we went from just 6 heroes and 12 zombears, and we've gotten 3 new heroes and 3 new zombears, and I think at least by the end of the Kickstarter, we'll have doubled the number of heroes. So each village will have a choice of 1 of 2 heroes that you can recruit.
Nice.
Cool. And now, explain social stretch goals, because that's a new one. I'm on a lot of I kickstart a lot of things, and social stretch goals is a new hotness that I want people to understand.
So actually, we've been doing it for over a year, probably 2 years now. So what our rationale for doing it is Kickstarter, yes, it's for funding, but it's also building a community. And so to build a community, social stretch goals are community building activities. So we're not doing contests per se, but if you hit a certain number of likes on our Facebook page or Twitter or Board Game Geek, which is the big board game platform website, or you're responding to some of our, like we voted on, one of our social stretch goals was to look at the art for the green hero and select which outfit art-wise worked the best. And so if we got enough people voting on it, then that also meant that there will be another green hero. So they're all about community building and making sure that our Kickstarter backers are engaged with the game before it even comes out. That's what they do. So all our social stretch goals are for the expansion. And then we do have some, if we fund and then get past it, we have stretch goals for the base game as well.
So it's important to note that the game will come out whether it funds or not, correct?
That is the plan.
Eventually.
But that doesn't mean the expansion will come out.
Right. But what the goal of the Kickstarter is to get the expansion. Right. I just want to make sure that that's clear. The expansion is the part we all want. Like, let's be real. If you don't want zombears, you're doing it wrong.
Well,
I feel like I've made a mistake. There's a certain bear I need to share this with, and I haven't.
Oh.
In fact, tonight is his game night. I'm just going to text it to him right now. But no, so give us a little bit of a history on Greenbrier games, Julie. I mean,
once
yeah.
upon a time.
We've never had you on to interview you about like this before, so I have to ask you all the questions.
Okay, cool. Origin story of Greenbrier games.
I've heard the stories before, but nobody else has.
That's true. So we were, Jeff put out an ad for a band. You want to go to the way, way back machine? Yeah, Jeff put out an ad because he wanted musicians for his like coffee shop, kind of like acoustic band. And for a hot minute, we had a really bad band. Really bad.
Like bad like good or bad like bad?
Not like good. Just like people who really wanted to hang out with each other and were trying real hard to find a reason. And then fortunately we found out we all like board games. So then we moved adjacent and did an activity that we all enjoyed that was, enjoyable for everybody participating. And then Jeff decided he wanted to try his hand at designing a game, and we all became his playtesters. But apparently being mean has its advantages because I just said what I thought.
You're not mean. You're just honest.
I mean, I was a little mean. And that kind of, so it was a weird gradual evolution of, I was playtesting and then, but my feedback was, while asked to be packaged maybe a little bit nicer over the years after the novelty of my bluntness wore off, then it became, my personal segue, because he was also talking to Zach online because Zach was doing maps for more of an RPG style. And so they were on a forum talking about how mechanics for combat would work with what he was doing, and then it was influencing how Jeff was designing. And I'm looking at all the cards and going, hey, can we change the survivors? And him being like, well, it's just my friends. Why? And I was like, because if all our survivors are dudes between the ages of 25 and 30, we're screwed because nobody's going to repopulate that way in a zombie apocalypse. And he was like, well, I don't know how to do that. I was like, fortunately I do. So I just took over doing the survivors, and then that became not just rewriting the flavor, and that became redesigning the stats so that it made more sense for each survivor being unique. And that turned into, well, can you also do the weapons? And that turned into Zach and I having this whole to this day, Zach will just, or I will just throw out any object to each other and we start making stats for a zombie apocalypse for it. We can't stop ourselves. To this day, it's been years.
Chicken wing. There.
Ooh, that would be real low.
That's
That's a one and done. And really, I feel like that would be one that the longer you hold it, the more effective it was, because once it's rotted, it has more of a smell. And so you'd have to hold it for several rounds before you could toss it. And then maybe it would distract the zombie. And it's a one shot. It's not a very good one. But you know what?
Could sharpen the bone and use it to stab things.
You have to get too close for that. That is not effective at all.
You could stab other survivors.
Well, you could, but they'd see that coming. No. It's a semi-co-op. You totally can.
I understand.
There's rules for that.
Mm-hmm.
We can go down this road, man.
Right.
I can spend all day doing this.
See, this is what happens when we're hanging out. But what if you did this? Right. And she's like, you could do that, but it wouldn't pay off because of this.
Well,
I know, but I still want to do it.
That's how it started. And it went from, this is a fun activity that we're doing, to, is this actually something we're making? And if it's something we're making, should we be more serious about it? And when we decided, yes, we should be more serious about it, it very quickly became, well, then when we're doing contracts, because if we have contracts, then it won't just be, hey, we're like every band you've ever heard the story of that's split up. They all start off great friends, and then suddenly there's this huge epic implosion and everybody hates each other. And we basically knew that that's how, if we just started a company as, hey, we're friends, we're always going to get along, that wasn't true. So we immediately went to, this is a business. And as a business, we're having clear defined roles and all of it. And funnily enough, because we have had the legal aspect to fall back on and started it that way, I think we've maintained our friendship much better over the last decade, because when it's work, it's not personal. And then after hours, it's I'm playing Numenaria with Zach every Monday. Jeff, Zach, and I have our own platform where we play 7 Days to Die. We have our own, what do I want to say? I don't want to say platform. We have our own can't find the word.
I was to say, I thought Twitch stream.
Well, yeah, basically.
Okay.
So we play our own. Yeah, we have our own 7 Days to Die universe where we're gonna get so mauled because we're like approaching. I don't know. We're past day 70. We're gonna get creamed soon. But anyway, we're still like after hours stay friends so that during the day we can be a company. And that was the start. I did not know then what I know now. But
Right.
here we are. And we somewhere along the line segued from always narrative driven, even though that is still our biggest thing, like you said, folklore, horror, narrative driven, more RPG style tabletop games, to also doing things like, well, Ninja Dice, and to your point, like Burger Up, so like cuter, lighter weight, but very take that. So Cupid Stabby is what we call it. And Barbarian, Tales of Barbaria is the most recent of our Cupid Stabby line.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
definitely cute and
Burger
stabby.
Up can get stabby, especially when it's towards the end of the game and you're playing with people who have played it a lot. And
Yes,
you know,
and
they're looking
also-
for an actual fork going, this is getting
Well,
why
that's
are
the
you
thing.
doing this
It
to me?
doesn't matter if you're not hungry when you start. When you're playing a game like Burger Up, you get hangry by the end.
You can
every
only play
time.
Burger Up in bars. That's what I've decided. You can only play it in a place where they can bring you food on command.
I mean, that's fair.
I mean,
We've had some
it's true.
pretty competitive Burger Up games, you and me, Kyle.
Nice.
It's true, and it's at the end of the game. I'm just waiting for her to shank me because that's what happens. Same with Barbarians, though. Like we've played Barbarians where at the end I'm relatively sure our friendship was over.
At least for that 5-minute cooling off period that occurs after you rage quit a
Of
game.
course, this also happened when we played Uno, so like it's a whole thing. Like
We're too
Amanda's not
competitive.
that competitive unless she's playing a board game or a tabletop game. Then she's ultra competitive, and I'm just always ultra competitive.
Well, that's the great thing about board games, though. You can take it and you can focus it in on something that as soon as it's over, you can be like, well, that was a catharsis, and then step away. That's
True.
That's the cool part about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we maybe could have sent an email to Walter, and had him on. But tell us about how Barbarians, the original, came to be, and then how the expansion came, or how not the expansion, how the new Tales of Barbaria came to exist.
So Ian and Walter were working on Champions of Horror, and they did a spin-off, as we talk about, where they just got goofy one night and started making bear puns because of one of the characters in Champions of Horror, and that turned into a design. So actually, Ian is the driving force of the design of Barbarian Battlegrounds. Walter obviously helped. They work as a team, but Ian took the lead in that, whereas Walter was doing a lot of work on Champions of Horror. And I have now officially played. I am 100% positive that in the world, even over you, Kyle, I have played more games of Barbarian Battlegrounds than anyone on the planet.
You might have me by a few.
Did it thousands of times. So both designers agree that I could crush them at their own game at this point. So at the time that it came out, we discussed, let's do an expansion. But of course, they needed to finish Champions of Horror. They were working on Fire for Light, which they're still working on, which is a big box, much more in the Z-Apocalypse, Folklore, The Affliction, worlds or style of game. And so it kind of got away from them. And finally I was like, are you going to give me this expansion or not? And they're like, oh yeah, no, we've been working on it. And what they gave me was 75% of a game. So I took it and I played it and I went, this is too much. This is not an expansion. So I I'm talking to Walter and Ian saying, I can pull off pieces. We can maybe do separate expansions. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever you think is best. So I start pulling off pieces and I'm play testing it that way. And like I was saying, like, again, we talked about, and I took it to S and I play tested it with people, a lot of different like aspects of it. And at some point I went, this is its own game. And so when I did, that's when I realized it just needed certain elements added to make it a game. So I pulled all the pieces that we had been, the feedback I had gotten, the design elements that I thought would fit the best, and put it together and made it a whole separate game. So that is the evolution, I guess, of the whole thing.
It's certain you can tell. Wow, English. You can certainly tell that Barbarian Battlegrounds is the jumping off point. Like it's the base game is still the same. The way you play the game, the mentality and the logic you use is still the same. But now you've got these other little things you can do that make it a whole other game.
Well, so the things that make it different, everybody focuses on adventure because the adventure phase is all new. But what we did was the adventure phase gives you a new pathway to victory. So really the biggest pathway to victory in the core game is attacking each other. It's the most fun. It's the most interesting. And the only other way really is if you build up enough of an engine and can buy. This way, we augmented, so adventure is a new pathway. We augmented the combat so that there's actually 2 different forks of how you can approach attacking as pathways to victory. And then you still have your engine building. And all of them are cleaner.
Right.
So it has a much more Euro feel than the original game. So even though it's still dice rolling, the dice are much more easy to manipulate and mitigate and help you augment your path to victory that you're choosing. So that was a big part of it. Another part of it was doing a lot of tweaks to make sure that going from a 2-player up to a 6-player, we did enough rebalancing to make sure that it wasn't a huge swing in the game style play depending on the number of players.
And explain for people who might not be in the know, who might not be big gamers, explain what you mean by Euro style as opposed to other.
So Settlers of Catan is a Euro style game. Agricola is a Euro style game. It's a lot more of, so while this still has hidden information, you have a lot more understanding of what different things you can do from the start instead of the randomization of narrative that might happen to you. In this particular one, you're using your dice and you're placing them for actions. And yes, people don't know what you're doing because it's hidden, but they know what all those actions are. So they know already what potential choices you might be able to make, and they can react to it as well. So it's earlier on, you have a much better indicator of what people are going to do and act or counteract accordingly.
And I like to point out to people that Euro style games, generally you're not sure who's going to win until the last turn. It's the end of the game. You know,
it's mathier.
Yeah, it is mathier. I thought I had a lot. I thought it was a lot closer than it was. As somebody pulls away, or
I think it depends on who plays it. So I'm more like you, where I'm like, I don't know how I'm doing. But anybody who's a human calculator, and I play with a lot of human calculators, already knows. So I play with them, and my goal is to not come in last. And that's fine, because narrative, from Arkham Horror on, I was a Ameritrash girl. Like I was 100%. So I played Catan when it came out. I played Agricola, but I certainly, when we come to design, I tend to lean more towards the narrative style or Ameritrash games. But I play a lot of Euros, and certainly that this game lent itself more to that.
Yeah. So
So,
He just
I just
can't.
half of my brain just shut off. It was
I
weird.
will say, so like, while his brain's rebooting, apparently, I remember playing with Kyle the original, Barbarians game.
mhm.
And when we played the Tales of Barbaria, there's definitely more that I like about the Tales of Barbaria because I like the adventuring aspect. I like that kind of thing. I'm not always super aggressive out the door with things. So
Right.
with the original, you kind of had to be pretty aggressive.
Right. And you can still be aggressive this way,
Right.
but you also have a lot of workarounds, to your point.
And
Right. And that's what I liked about it is you can pick and choose a little more, I guess.
I may have ruined the original for Amanda because by the time I brought it back, I had spent the whole weekend playing that game with you at Origins. Like, I think I probably played it 40
Amanda,
or 50
give me
times
like
in a
15
weekend.
minutes. I'll help you on that one too.
Well, but I already had my meta game figured out.
Right.
And so I'm teaching the game to Amanda and this, that, and the other. But at the same time, I'm like, but this is how I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those that it may have never been like with this where she'll be able to figure out her own play style and her own metagame. I may have just ruined it for her.
Well, so it's funny because there are multiple pathways to victory. So we kind of got on a track in our game that you'll see. I started leveling up the guard bears. It is not the new gamers go-to. Usually they go for the direct attack and going with mercenaries and the much more obvious attack method, or they go adventuring because adventuring is exciting and it's new, and also just adventuring. You're going on a quest. Right. So
Bear quests.
Right. So getting the guard bearers and then using the empower deck is a much subtler way to level up. But it was what I was doing, and then Jan picked up what I was doing and also did it. And so we were the ones that ended up with it is a legitimate pathway to victory that is much more subtle on what to do or how you can play it. So even at that there's none of it is, there's take that, but the take that is quick and then it's over. It's not you're building up an engine and suddenly somebody comes in and knocks everything down kind of a thing. There's a quick take that moment and then you move on. That's a short, backtrack right. And then moving forward again. And that was something that I really wanted to make sure we kept because this is supposed to be for families. And like you said, like it's a lighter style gameplay. You want it to be something that people can play over and over.
Right.
And if it's too stabby, that's not fun. We want stabby. Right. We don't want like evisceration.
Right. Well, and it's interesting, and you'll see it in the video, is that I played the pretty straight ahead, build the engine, and then come running full speed ahead at the end. And, Julie and Jan were way out in front of us, and they still beat me by quite a few points, but I made it a lot closer.
Oh, yeah, you jumped up quite a bit at the end. So if you had just done a few things to tweak your strategy or prevent us from doing our strategy, or you had gotten Amanda in to partner with you because you were opposite each other, so you couldn't directly attack each other.
Right.
Both, like if you had both kind of, and that's another fun thing about the game is there's plenty of human interaction engagement that can happen.
If Amanda hadn't stolen things from me early in the game and would have let me get my additional dice earlier, which you're supposed to do.
I appreciated that.
Yeah,
I appreciated
it was the right move. But
it might have been the right move to steal it from me or Jan.
But it was the right move for Amanda at the time.
Correct.
Well, I went when I pulled that card, I went, okay, this is what I need 2 of. Who has 2 of this thing that I can steal?
Right.
Oh, Kyle.
Oh, yep. Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Right. Sure.
Across the table.
As much as it frustrated the crap out of me, there's not a whole lot I can do about it. But if instead of doing that, you had held that card, let me get my extra die, and now the engine's
But
burning a
that's
little
the whole
faster.
point. So there's
Right.
a little bit of that. There's that human interaction that
Right.
makes
Right.
it part of the game.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. And the thing is because it's dice roll, there's still a lot of randomization here.
There is some. It's still not. It's not as big a factor as the original. There is randomization, absolutely. So you're going to have to mitigate what happens. But it's
right. If you roll like I did several times, where you're rolling multiple ones, your options become very limited.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still do stuff because it's so random. There's still opportunities for you to do stuff, even if your roll is not the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one of the things I love because a lot of games, oh crap, I rolled a bunch of ones. Well, I'll sit here and twiddle my thumbs.
See, yeah, that's why when you start investing in fate cards
Mm-hmm.
that allow you to re-roll
Mm-hmm.
and manipulate your dice 100%.
Right. So, what is one message you want people to know about Tales of Barbaria and Barbarians as a whole, like as a franchise? Back the Kickstarter?
Yeah, back the Kickstarter.
Right.
Go do it now. Go.
Right.
I mean, I did it.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I got.
What should people be looking for from Greenbrier Games in the future? This is now. Tales of Barbarian is now. Is there stuff you can key us in on to be watching for down the road?
As soon as this is over, I'll be switching over to Lost Ones.
Lost Ones is one I know nothing about, which is kind of exciting to me. Like, I've been hearing about Tales of Barbaria for like 2 years now.
So, Of Dreams and Shadows is the same designer.
Okay.
Gordon created, so Of Dreams and Shadows, you're in a fantasy world. It's a dice rolling combat game. You're moving standees, and you get a pool of actions you can do to either, and think video game, MMO kind of like RPG style game, where you're doing things to either keep evil at the lowest level possible or doing things to level yourself up, but you only have so many things that you can do. So you're trying to balance both. And you have 5 rounds of that, where you've got an action selection, and then fighting the little monsters before they become big monsters, and an event that happens at the space that you're at. 5 rounds of that, and then there's the boss fight rounds. So think video game kind of feel, but in a fantasy setting. So when you play that, you're a hero, traveling the lands, trying to rid it of evil. Lost Ones, totally different game, same world, but you're not a hero. You're somebody who, a young person. Whoa. You're a young person who fell asleep and woke up kidnapped. And there's some sort of, you don't know what, but you're in a crate, so you can't see anything. And then suddenly there's all this conflict, and you don't know what happens, but when you come to again, you've been broken free, and there was clearly some big struggle. You're in an alien world to your world, and you go from there with maybe other people, maybe just yourself, depending on if you're playing solo, so it's 1 to 4 players, and you decide what to do from there. So it's, think Seven Continent. When you step off, you move, you turn and you read the story, and you're going from story moment to story moment depending on where you travel, and you're trying to figure out where you are, what you're supposed to be doing, how to get back home, basically. You might figure out who each other are, you might not. You might work together, you might not. And that is our next Kickstarter. It'll be in October, but what I will be doing starting much sooner is doing, because it's so story driven, I don't want to do too much and give away the story. But I think what I'll be doing is a lot of like 20 to 30 minute intro demos up through the Kickstarter, so that everybody who wants to can play it and get a feel for what it is before we start it. I love it. I love it so much, and it's so very Gordon. The art is gorgeous. You can go on Board Game Geek and see it. It's stunning. The art is beautiful. The story is super engaging, and it's very much just like his original. It has this very dark undertones while still being very beautiful. And my favorite part is because you're not a hero, you're just basically a kid or a teenager who showed up and is trying to figure out, you might come across a hero. And if you do, it might be one of the heroes from the original game.
Very
Nice.
cool. Very cool.
Nice. Good synergy there.
Oh yeah. So
Well,
it's a totally different gameplay. It's not it's the same world, and he did this amazing job of incorporating it without making it. It's not a continuation. It's its own game. But he loved his world so much, he wanted to continue the world, and this is how he did it.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I definitely will say, like, as someone who, like, for a long time, it was just me and my significant other, you know, who played games. So I really do appreciate that, like, with Tales of Barbaria, and now, like, with this one, there are you can do it just by yourself, or with Tales of Barbaria, you can have just 2 players and have just as much fun as if you get a table. Because it's not always feasible for people, especially in these times, like right now, where we're staying at home a lot more and distancing and stuff. Being able to play just you and another person is really nice. So
yeah,
I definitely
absolutely.
for that.
So, Julie, where can people find Greenbrier Games on the interwebs and the socials?
So our website is greenbriergames.com, and it's Briar, B-R-I-E-R. We are on Twitter. We are on Facebook. We have an Instagram. You can find us, I promise.
If you can't come to our page, and we'll direct you.
Yes.
There you go.
I have links everywhere. So, and those are Greenbrier Games is a great place to go, by the way. And also, if you buy a Greenbrier game and you lose a piece, because it's a thing I do, you can usually order them from greenbriergames.com. Just throwing it out there. It's really nice, like the way that they've got everything set up. So make sure you visit that. So coming up right now, like in 7 seconds from now, will be our playthrough video. Just so you know, it's heavily edited because it was a long playthrough.
It was.
And because I'm inept.
I was going to say, how many, for the love of toasts, did you cut out of me saying that to you and Jan?
Several.
Yeah,
Several.
Well,
And there'll be a lot of me going, oh, why can't I do it? Why doesn't my mouse work?
His struggle with the tabletop simulator was probably the best part of that.
Right. I'll be cutting out a lot of my struggle bus moments.
I do appreciate that because, wow.
Well, here's what
Wow,
we do.
Kyle.
We just cut them out for this video.
Right.
But that'll become extra content on Patreon.
Yeah, that'll be great. We'll do a whole blooper reel of Kyle not being able to click on things. I'm much better in person when I can hold a die in my hands and roll it. I'm much better than
it's
if I have
super
to click
hard
and
right
drag
now.
and press R and
right. It's a much obviously getting to hold it is a big struggle. Getting to tactile, you have all these dice that you can roll and play with, and that is very hard on Tabletop Simulator. So you're going to have to forgive that part of it, everybody, because when you get the game, that will not be the issue. However, if you back the Kickstarter and you want to test it, it is on Tabletop Simulator, and I did share the link through the Kickstarter updates, and the rulebook is also shared on the Kickstarter page.
what I may try and do is convince Amanda to have a one-on-one playthrough separately, and maybe I'll use a PC this time.
Totally fair. I think I will be I know I will be setting up more Tabletop Simulator signups through Sign Up Genius again for the next upcoming weekend. So also, if anybody wants to try it and needs somebody to help them, somebody who's played way too much Tabletop Simulator at this point and can help them, I will be available. So again, that will also be through the Kickstarter.
And if you're really desperate and you want people to play with that aren't just Julie and you want to sign up, just shoot us a message. Amanda, I'm sure will play again. I'll play again. I'll try and solve my technical difficulties. It won't be also recording it and,
Well, and that's the thing that I really like to do. So, like, I'm really definitely am down to play again, just because the first time I play, I try things and just want to see what
Yeah.
it's all about. So, like, for me, I lost, and I lost miserably to everybody in this game. But I didn't care because I was just trying to.
You were trying all the different paths.
Yeah, I was playing.
You were poking and saying, what does this do? What does this do? That's exactly how I play. That is exactly how I play. So I lose the first game, I lose the second game, I start to get closer in the third game, and then on the fourth game, you're dead.
Right, and
that's the hard part, because I play with the human calculators who beat me the first couple games, and then when I start to get close, they're like, I'm tired of this game. I'm like,
because I'm figuring it out.
I see how it is. So yes, Kyle and Amanda were very good sports, and I was trying very hard not to win until Jan started getting.
Right. I don't even care. I just had fun playing. That's like who I am, though. Like,
well, and
competitive.
The thing is, in person.
Yeah.
The thing is, in person, I've beat Jan more than he's beat me.
Yes.
In person.
In person, yes, because I think actually Tabletop Simulator has to keep him focused, and that is his Achilles heel.
Yeah.
So in person, you can distract me more easily.
Well, we're playing at Gen Con last year. They're trying to close the show floor. Like, we're down to like a minute and a half left, and they're like, "You need to leave." And it's me, Jan, and Walter. It would have been Saturday night, standing at the table playing. And I beat them both on the last roll.
That sounds about right.
And like, I'm up on one. I'm up on each of them once. So we don't get Gen Con this year, so we can't have our grudge match. But still, next year.
You'll have to practice on Tabletop Simulator so that then you can have your grudge match that way.
Yeah.
Right. Next year. So all right. So Greenbrier with an E on everything, and greenbriergames.com. All right, stay tuned for the video.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, so I chose red. Without thinking about how it would look while we recorded this thing. So
I have to be the customary yellow for ducks and quackalopes.
Amanda, would you prefer green or purple?
Oh, it doesn't really matter, but I'll take green just because it's right here in front of me.
Okay.
Who's doing your TTS mods, Julie?
Me.
Really? Ooh, that's a cool skill.
I've been doing, I mean, this isn't great, but it's definitely serviceable, and it needs some tweaks, I know that, but we've been doing Tabletop Simulator since the apocalypse for playtesting.
Oh, well, I had no idea that was in your skill set.
It's skill-ish. It's skill set adjacent. It's not. I've reluctantly become good at it, or proficient, I should say, at it, because I've done it enough times. I don't care for doing it, but I happen to also live with somebody who's crazy good at programming in general and obsessed right now. So he went from, I don't know anything about this Tabletop Simulator, to I'm writing code for it so that I can make my own calyxes in the room for our custom room. So I just steal a lot of his stuff, I'm not going to lie.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
So yeah, thanks. So here we are. So as you can see, we have a 4-person setup for Tales of Barbaria. And so I've already pre-set up, you've got your 4 set of dice. There are 9 max of the specialists each. So that scales depending on the number of players. And since it's a 4-player game, we're going to put out 3. What happened? I put out the whole deck, didn't I? Great.
The joys of Tabletop Simulator.
So great. Let's try it this way to make sure. There we go. So we'll have 3 cards out per season. The game happens over 9 rounds. There's 3 rounds per season, 3 seasons total, spring, summer, and autumn, because bears would not be out and about during the winter when they hibernate. Hibernate, yes, we're going to go there.
Buns.
So, I know Kyle and all 3 of you have played OG Bears before. So just to make a couple of quick considerations of what we're going to do that's a little bit different. Plan phase, we're still going to roll out in the open, and we're going to place our dice on our board, which is hidden in these handy dandy little hidden boat instead of behind the screens. And what's different now is if you look at the top, our first phase will be adventure, which is, so placing in the middle means whatever you're placing there will be to go adventuring. Then brawl, you're going to be attacking your player to the left or to the right, and that was to accommodate to an up to 6 player game, because once you get past a certain level, then 4 people ganging up on one person is a little too much on the stabby and a little less on the cute than we cared for.
Mm-hmm.
Defend still works as defend. Resources still work as resources, but there are a few tweaks to each phase, so let me go through them really quickly. So if adventure is brand new, you're going to place them on a location if you choose to adventure. So looking at it, if you scroll over and you press Alt over it, you can see it up close. There's an end of the round bonus if you win, and there's an end of the season bonus. At the end of the round, it could be the highest or the lowest. It looks like the middle one is lowest strength. So when you're placing your dice, if you have a 1, you might be thinking of going here. If you have a 5 or 6, you might be thinking of going to one of these 2. But there's only 3, and there's 4 of us. So if everybody decides to adventure, somebody is probably going to get not what they want. Once you win, you would place one of your glory tokens on any of the available slots and take that 1 resource. At the end of the season, so the 3rd round, the 6th round, and the 9th round, whoever has the majority flags on any given card gets that number of glory. If it's a tie, you won't get it. If there's a tie for the dice, however, you will roll off. So that's adventure. Brawl is a little bit different than the original. So for Brawl, we're going to... So in the original, you won, you went and you took somebody else's glory token. And that was great in a very visceral, very take that kind of way. I wanted to keep that feeling, but we have made it a lot cleaner because the big concern was always, well, what happens if we run out of victory tokens? Can I take somebody else's? There was a lot of concerns and confusion about that. So what we're doing instead is when you attack, if you successfully attack, you gain glory. If somebody successfully defends, you lose glory. If there's a tie, you're going to roll off. So that could be straight up, I attack for 3, somebody else attacks for 3, roll. Or it could be I attack for 3, you attacked for 2, you defended for 1, still going to roll. Make sense?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
we'll get to it.
For me, we just need to play it.
I know, you're good.
And then you need to tell me what I'm doing wrong. So
of course, will do. Resources are still resources. 1, 2, or 3, 4, 5, or 6. 1, 2, or 3 are honey. 4, 5, or 6 are ore. Any number in the middle. 6, you're not going to lock your glory anymore because it's on the tracker, but you can still get 2 fate for that. And then our market board has taken over instead of having a marketplace here. So 2 honey will get you a card from the mercenary deck. So to just show everybody what that looks like, you can either hire a mercenary or it might be a specialty one that lets you do something that's a little extra mean. Fate is going to be about dice placement, but it might be the same choose 1 die and change it to something else. It might be you can roll any number of your dice, Yahtzee style, or it might be I can mess with somebody else's card.
Because I can.
Because I can. Oh yeah, they're all bad puns. Come on. And then Empower is taking the guard specialist and making them, instead of just being a constant +1 defense, it's making them the captain of the guard, and suddenly you can play it in the middle and turn it into an attack and turn it around on somebody. So you could start with just defense and then invite an attack and then turn around and attack someone. Or even if they're not attacking you, you could play a card and choose to attack somebody after the fact. So that's what Empower deck does now. So I'm going to just put these over in the discard pile, since we all know what those are now. And then the only other differences are, Grand Offering is now 7 of any kind or 2 hearts. Hearts you can only get from adventuring. We don't have any out right now. So that's these tokens here. They play a very small role in the core game. They play a much bigger role in the expansion. Okay, let's get started. So who's the last person to have honey?
I had to taste honey the other day to see if it was still good. That was about 2 weeks ago.
Yep, perfect. You're
Okay.
first player. Everybody
Yay.
roll.
Okay. Ooh.
And in case you don't know, you can highlight all 3 dice and then press R and it will roll them. Or you can
How
hold
do
them
you
and
highlight
physically shape it. Click and drag.
To where? Okay.
Just click and drag like it's a PowerPoint. Or, yeah.
I don't think this is optimized for Mac.
No, you can use my. There you go.
You can, but it's hard.
It's hard. Well, listen. There's a pandemic. We make sacrifices. So you have a wait, whoa! What? You're placing them. I haven't even looked at your dice. Poor form, gentlemen.
Oh, sorry.
Use 6
I
and
got
5.
excited. I got this.
4, 4, and 6. 6, 2, and 4. And I have 5, 3, and 3. Okay. Making the magic happen.
Here we go now. 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 Here we go now.
For me.
Okay. Here's your ore.
Thank you.
Then we go into brawling,
Yep.
and Jan did not win either fight. Well, actually, okay.
Let's see.
So how much do you have? You have 6 here, and you have 6 here as well.
Yep.
And they were both defending as well.
So I'm playing critical claws. Yeah, that would make a rollout, and I would be. Oh man, that sucks.
I mean, you might as well, because you're going to lose either way, so you might as well do it.
Yeah, but then they have a chance of rolling higher than me. So would it make more sense to just defend? Or I'm pretty much already defended from both of them too.
Let's see. How much do you have, Kyle?
I have 2 3s, so 6.
6. So no, you're either gonna do it to attack to potentially win the attack, but he's lost. You don't win the attack. He's lost the attack. He's gonna go down a point.
I don't want to take 8 points away from anyone. I just want to win points.
Yeah, but that's happening. So Kyle beats you here, but you have 5 defense,
Yeah.
and same over here.
Yeah, so I'm defended from both of them. I'm yeah, for sure. And if I do attack anybody, it would be Kyle.
Okay. So
But
go for
then
it.
then we're going to have to do
Yeah,
we do
roll
rollout?
up. Roll up.
Okay, so what do I need to do?
Roll your 2 dice right here.
Okay. 1.
What the hell?
Just a second.
No!
You got to beat a 2, Kyle.
Well, right now I can't
I
even
have the
grab.
tiger, Kyle.
Okay.
Well, is it a 2 plus 2?
Roll. No, it's just a 2. Don't try to.
I'll help you, dude. Okay.
All right.
So
No, don't help. I'll do it. I can do it. I'm a big boy.
Are you?
press
I flipped
R
the coin.
once you have them selected. Oh man.
Yes. All right. So Kyle, you successful? No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're still gonna beat the.
Yep.
So
That was mostly to see if I could gain a point.
Do I gain a point?
Nope.
Okay.
No one gains points.
Hey.
nobody gains a point. Amanda. Okay, so you do not gain any points. You do not lose any points.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda attacks, and it's unsuccessful. And then she attacks me, and we
And
are
that's a roll-off.
tied. And it's a roll off.
How many would I need to
Oh, just 1 or 2, like anything.
2.
beat you, or no? To
Me, you would need 2.
Oh.
okay. So if I was to get a point to make this attack, I need 2 to make this attack successful.
Oh, not
against
here.
him. You're
Yeah.
no. There's it doesn't against him you would have to be, you had 6,
Mm-hmm.
which is a leftover of 2. You would need 3.
3. Okay. Does not matter then. So we have to roll off then.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Ooh. Ooh.
All right. And I do not beat yours, so I would lose a point unless I use
This.
that, which I'm going to, so I don't lose a point. This is the most complex.
Yes. What does this do?
Where's my?
I don't know where it is,
Do anything?
Julie.
Oh, that was the one that was there, that got moved onto the card for some reason, because we were in the same spot.
Yeah, we're both at 10.
Okay. We're both at 10. Did you just move up one? For some reason?
I was at 10 the entire time. Well,
Then
I've been
I
on 10 for a bit.
Okay.
Did
We
you just
would-
gain a point?
Yes.
Oh no, then you're at 11.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
No!
However,
You just
I
get another
attacked-
defender, Amanda, if you play that.
Okay, so it doesn't help me though with her. So
No.
no, didn't think so.
All right, Kyle.
I'm just getting rid of it.
I had a 6.
Yeah, me too. Let's
Okay.
roll.
Okay.
This is everyone's attacking.
Ready, go.
Oh, Kyle, come on. Oh, thank God.
Yep, you beat me for 1. I defended for 1, so it's still a tie. Let's roll.
Oh, wait, what, again?
Yeah.
Oh, no. No. Oh,
no,
okay,
you beat
thank
me. All right,
God.
you got a point.
Woohoo, Kyle!
There we
Oh,
go.
but that was an unsuccessful attack from your part, Julie, right?
But it's either attack or defend.
Okay, got it. Oh, okay. That would have definitely given you the game, I think. Because you have a bunch of resources there that you're going to cash in as well.
I do, but okay, so now we've finished attack. Now we're going to gather resources.
Mm-hmm.
If someone wouldn't mind, I need 2 honey, 1 fate, and 1 ore.
Can you
we're
go
up
through those
against our
again?
Hard out.
Yep.
No, we're done with the game. Like, we just finished it with this last round. So,
I need 2 honey.
Green. Hold on. So I'm going to do the points for this just while we're at it.
1 fate and
So
2 ore.
green gets 2 points from this card. Red gets 2 points from the middle card. Yellow gets 3 points from that card.
mm-hmm.
Purchases, I'm buying 2 victory points with all my ill-gotten gains.
And I will be purchasing 1 victory.
God damn it, you win.
That's why I asked you about, like, can I get double resources?
Yeah, no. I know why you were asking. I was picking up what you were putting down.
I have exactly enough to buy 1
Yeah.
measly
6,
point.
7. I will also buy 1 victory point just to make it look like it's closer than it was. Because I have 8 resources, so I can afford 1 victory point.
There you go.
Yay! Awesome. Thank you for the game, guys.